Hello everyone and welcome to EduTap. So guys, we are back with another session for NABARD Grade A Phase 1 for the year 2021, and the topic that will be taking up today is reading comprehension. Now many students had this question, sir, how to solve reading comprehension in the paper? Is it plausible? Is it viable to commit so much time to reading comprehension in the paper? Should we do it or not? Today we are going to learn the tips and tricks to solve the comprehension that you can score high. So guys, don't forget to like the session. Guys, that's the least you could do, right? So don't forget to like the session. Don't forget to share it. And let's begin the session, guys. And before we begin, guys, I have some great news that we have launched two packages, two courses for ICAR AO post for 2021, right? The Indian Commission for Agricultural Research. So administrative officer, admin officer, right? So we have launched two packages, two courses for the same. And guys, we are offering 15% discount and the coupon code is early15. Guys, the notifications are out. You can fill up this form and you can prepare for this exam as well. All right, guys. So let's begin the session. So guys, what are the tips and tricks to solve reading comprehension during NABARD? Phase 1, so this time there'll be 30 questions and we are expecting 5 to 10 questions on reading comprehension, probably 2 passages with 5 questions each. Good evening, Pratibha. Hello, DK. Hello, Priya. Welcome to the session, guys. So guys, what should be your constant strategy that every time whenever you are going to solve a reading comprehension passage, that this is the this is the way to go about it. This is what you should do. Good evening, Priya. Yes, Shrikant, you can request that to the ESI teacher. Today we are taking up English section. So guys, the first and the most important trick is reverse reading. Guys, this has definitely proved to be very important. And what do we mean by reverse reading, guys? Before we read the passage, we need to read the questions based on the passage before reading the passage. So that gives you or tells you a lot about the passage, and plus you get the central theme and you get the keywords to look for while you are reading the passage. So guys, this is what we call reverse reading. You should start with the questions first. You should get to know the questions, what has been asked, so that you can specifically look at the answers, so that it becomes easy and you improve your time as well as your accuracy. Now, what to do while reading the questions, guys? Mark the keywords in the questions and memorize them. Now, guys, I'll show it to you how to do that. So you should categorize and find out the keywords in the questions and memorize them. So try to recognize the main idea of the passage. If the questions are all about consequences of terrorism in the world or in America, the implications of terror attacks of 9/11, and the difference between bioterrorism and chemical terrorism. So you can understand that the passage is somewhat revolving around terrorism, right? So when you look at the questions, you can get the central theme, you can get the main idea of the passage by looking at the questions, and I'll share it with you how to do that today. And after reading the questions, finding the central theme, central idea of the passage, memorizing the keywords, you should know what you're looking for. So memorize the keywords, and before reading the passage, you should know what you're looking for. Right now, while reading the passage, look for the keywords marked in the questions. So whichever keywords that you marked in the questions, look for those keywords. Words synonymous or similar to those. Now, avoid getting stuck anywhere while reading the passage. That is true, because that would lead to wastage of time. And mark important points of each paragraph. Let's say there are 3 or 4 paragraphs. So as you go, please mark important points of all the paragraphs. So let's try to solve a few passages today, and let's see if you are able to solve it. So guys, these passages are not easy, so I'm warning you. Are you ready? So this is the level of passages that you are going to face in the paper. So let's see if your preparations are on track, and don't forget to like the session, guys. So this is the passage, but we are going to start with reverse reading. So let's read the questions first and then we will read the passage, and let's try to figure out what the passage is all about. Now, question number 1. According to the passage, which of the following is or are of paramount importance under the right to education? So we have to find which of the following is or are paramount of paramount importance under right to education. Sending of children to school by all parents, provision of adequate physical infrastructure in schools, curricular reforms for developing child-friendly learning system. Okay, so I think I'm getting some idea what the passage is going to be about, guys. Second question, guys, with reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. So there are 3 assumptions given. Right to education guarantees right to education. So I think this is I think the passage is going to be about education and the right to education. Right. Third question is, according to the passage, which one of the following is critical in bringing quality in education? So obviously, they would be talking about the quality of education, and which of the following is critical in bringing quality in education? Right. That was question number 3. And what is the essential message in this passage? The right to education. So I think after reading the passage, reading the questions, guys, can you can you guess what the passage is going to be about? What would be the central theme of the passage? Guys, you've been reading the questions with me. Guys, can you guess? Can you can you tell yourself what should be the central theme of this passage? I think we have read all the questions carefully. Very good, DK. Importance of education. Right to education or importance of education. Very good, Neha. Very close. Education, obviously, that's true. Yes, guys, what about others? What do you think? What is this passage all about? Guys, now we know what the passage is about. So we are mentally prepared that what the passage is going to be about, right? This is why we call reverse reading very important. So now we have read the questions. We know the central theme is education, quality in education, right to education. And we have 2 keywords. One is which is critical in bringing quality in education. And the second is what is of paramount importance under the right to education, right? Alright, guys, now let's read the passage together and let's try to solve these. Let's see if you will be able to score well in these questions. So let's read the passage, guys. It is no longer enough for us to talk about providing for universal access to education. Making available schooling facilities is an essential prerequisite, but is insufficient to ensure that all children attend school and participate in the learning process. That's true, guys, that making available school facilities is an essential prerequisite, but it is insufficient to ensure that all children attend school and participate in the learning process. The school may be there, but children may not attend or they may drop out after a few months. Through school and social mapping, we must address the entire gamut of social, economic, and cultural, and indeed linguistic and pedagogic issues. Factors that prevent children from weaker sections and disadvantaged groups, as also girls, from regularly attending and complementing elementary education. The focus must be on the poorest and most vulnerable, since these groups are the most disempowered and at the greatest risk of violation or denial of the right to education. So what he is saying in the first paragraph, that just talking about universal access to education is not enough. That means providing a physical structure of a school is not enough. We should understand what are the through school and social mapping, we must address the entire gamut of social, economic, cultural, and indeed linguistic and pedagogic issues. Factors that prevent children from weaker sections and disadvantaged groups, as also girls, from regularly attending and completing their education. So this is a critical situation, right? Let's read further, guys. The right to education goes beyond free and compulsory education. So he says the right to education goes beyond free and compulsory education to include quality education for all. So that's what the real definition of right to education is. It is not just free and compulsory education to all, but it should also include quality education for all. Quality is an integral part of the right to education. That's true. If the education process lacks quality, children are being denied their right. The Right of Children to Free and Compulsory Education Act lays down that the curriculum should provide for learning through activities, exploration, and discovery. So he's of the of the view that not just right to education, but quality education should be provided to everyone. Because if the education lacks quality, the children are being denied their right, basic fundamental right. And the right to children to this act says that curriculum should provide learning through activities, exploration, and discovery. So he focuses in second paragraph, he focuses on the quality of education that is provided to the children. Next paragraph, guys. This places an obligation on us to change our perception of children as passive receivers of knowledge and to move beyond the convention of using textbooks as the basis of examinations. So that is another question that he has put to us, that it places an obligation on us to change our perception of children as passive receivers of knowledge, to move beyond the convention of using textbooks as the basis of examinations. The teacher learning process must become stress-free, and a massive program for curricular reform should be initiated to provide for a child-friendly learning system that is more relevant and empowering. Teacher accountability systems and processes must ensure that children are learning, that their right to learn in a child-friendly environment is not violated. Testing and redesigned to ensure that these do not force children to struggle between school and tuition centers and bypass childhood. All right, so that's again a very important point, that children should not be forced to, just cram books, and they should be tested just on the basis of their textbook knowledge. They should also be child-friendly learning system where the student is not only stuck with their tuition and school routine. He should be able to learn something new every day. So that should be the the aim of right to free education, right? So now let's try to solve the questions, guys. Question number 1. According to the passage, which of the following is or are of paramount importance under the right to education? Sending of children to school by all parents, provision of adequate physical infrastructure in schools, and third is curriculum reforms for developing child-friendly learning system. Yes, guys. Which of the following is or are of paramount importance under right to education? Very good, Neha. Very good, DK. Yes, guys, everyone has to answer, be it right or wrong. Very good, Pratibha. So, guys, what he says under which is of the paramount importance, right? See, that's what he started with. Making available schooling facilities is an essential prerequisite, but it is insufficient to ensure that all children will participate. So we have to focus on addressing the social, economic, and cultural background, and we should provide a child learning environment. So guys, very well done. The correct option is option number C. Curricular reforms for developing child-friendly learning system. That is the correct answer. This is of the paramount importance under right to education. Very good, Yamuya. All right, guys. Second question. With reference to the above passage, the following assumptions have been made. Now, guys, they have made 3 assumptions. You have to find which of them is valid or not. First is the right to education guarantees teachers accountability for the learning process of children. The right to education guarantees 100% enrollment of children in the schools. The right to education intends to take full advantage of demographic dividend. Yes, guys. Should be the correct option for question number 2. No, Mayureshwar. This will not be added in EPFO. This is for NABARD. In EPFO, you do not have comprehension passages in the paper. You only have multiple choice questions. Got it? This is for NABARD grade A. Yes, guys. What should be the correct option for question number 2? Which of the assumptions is correct? The right to education guarantees teachers accountability for the learning process of children. It guarantees 100% enrollment of children in the school. Or The right to education intends to take full advantage of the demographic dividend. No, DK, it's wrong. No, the right to education guarantees. In the passage, he has said that teacher accountability systems and processes must ensure that children are learning. It should happen. It must ensure. That means it is not happening. So option number 1 is wrong. The right to education guarantees 100% enrollment. That is also not true. There are so many socio-economic and so many various factors which prevent children from enrollment. So option number 2 is also invalid. Correct option is option number C, only 3. The right to education intends to take full advantage of demographic dividend. What is demographic dividend? Children from all stages of life, all backgrounds of life, be it poor, rich, young or whatever, so that everyone, the intention of right to education, free right to education is so that everyone has access to schooling and with quality education. The number given is given below, Rishabh, 8146207241, but the office hours is up to 7 p.m. So kindly call us tomorrow after 10 a.m. in the morning and we'll be more than happy to help you with your query, Rishabh. Guys, the correct option was only option number C. Guys, you have to be very careful what they put in your question. All right, guys. Question number 3. Let's move on, guys. According to the passage, which one of the following is critical in bringing quality in education? So which one of the following is critical in bringing quality in education? Ensuring regular attendance of children as well as teachers in school, giving pecuniary benefits to teachers to motivate them, understanding the socio-cultural background of children, inculcating learning through activities and discovery, or none of the above? This is E, guys. Which of the following is critical in bringing quality in education? Very good, Neha. Very good, DK. So, what was critical? Inculcating learning through activities and discovery. The correct option was option number D. Very good, guys. Yes, the number at the bottom of the screen, 8146207241, that is the number. Rishabh, it is at the bottom of the screen. Correct option is option number D. Very well done, guys. Yes, guys. Next question. What is the essential message in the passage? In this passage? Yes, guys. The right to education is now a fundamental right. The right to education enables the children of poor and weaker sections of the society to attend schools. The right to free and compulsory education should include quality education for all. The government as well as parents should ensure that all children attend schools, or none of the above. What is the essential message? Very good, Neha. Very good, DK. The rest of you do not want to answer. Guys, try it out, make mistakes, otherwise you'll not know where you need improvement. So the essential message, the central message was the right to free and compulsory education should include quality education for all. That was the core message of this passage, guys. Very well done. Good job. So this is basically how you solve a reading comprehension, guys, right? So guys, do you want to try another one? Very good, Pratibha. Yes, guys, do you want to try another passage? Or should I give you a homework? Yes, guys, quickly answer. Do you want to solve another passage right now? Or do you want it as homework? I'm going to try it if the time permits. Time is in your hands. All right. Okay, guys, let's try it again. So let's try another passage and let's see. Right. Let's see if you can solve this one. So this is the passage, guys, and let's read the questions first. According to the passage, why should discharge of agricultural slurry into water courses be restricted? This is a factual question, guys. We have to find this reason why discharge of agricultural slurry into water courses be restricted. Okay. Question number 2, the passage refers to the conversion of pollutant to fertilizer. What is pollutant and what is fertilizer in this context? All right. So we have to find this part, pollutant to fertilizer. All right. Question number 3, what are the effects of indiscriminate use of fertilizers? All right, what are the effects of? So we have to find the consequences, the effects of indiscriminate use of fertilizers. That's again very factual question. Question number 4, what is or what are the characteristics of a water body with cultural eutrophication? All right, so we have to find the characteristics of a water body with cultural eutrophication. So, right, so there are these 4 questions. So guys, before we read the passage, can you give me the central theme of the passage? What do you think is the passage is going to be about? Fertilizer, agricultural slurry, right? Water body, pollutant to fertilizer. What do you think should be the central theme of the passage? Yes, guys. Can you give it a try? Obviously, indiscriminate use of fertilizers, discharge into agricultural slurry, discharge of agricultural slurry into water courses. That means it's talk about, I think it would be talking about the agricultural pollution. Fertilizers, agricultural, yes. Very good. So guys, this is what happens when you read the questions carefully, right? Very good, Neha. Very good, Lina. Very good, DK. Very good, Marandi. Very good, Lina. Very well done, guys. Now try to read the passage carefully with me and let's try to solve the questions, right? Remember the keywords. Discharge of agricultural slurry into water courses be restricted. What does the author mean by pollutant to fertilizer? Indiscriminate effects of indiscriminate use of fertilizer and characteristics of water body with cultural eutrophication. All right, now let's read the passage. Okay. So here it goes, guys. The law in many parts of the world increasingly restricts the discharge of agricultural slurry into water courses. So there are laws in many parts of the world which restrict the discharge of agricultural slurry. What is slurry, guys? After you've cultivated the crops, whatever the the waste is, we call baggage. So whatever baggage is left, what farmers usually do, they discharge it into water courses, right? So this is against the law in many parts of the world. The simplest and often the most economically sound practice returns. So what he says, in spite of discharging agricultural slurry into water courses, the simplest and often the most economically sound, the cheapest practice returns the material to the land as semi-solid manure or as sprayed slurry. So he says the best practice is to return the agricultural slurry as semi-solid manure or as sprayed slurry onto the land. This dilutes its concentration in environment to what might have occurred in a more So what might have occurred in a more primitive and sustainable type of agriculture and converts pollutant into fertilizer. All right, so this is the phrase he was talking about. So क्या कह रहा है guys कि बहुत कंट्रीज में बहुत जगह पे कि एग्रीकल्चर का जो वेस्ट है उसको पानी में बहाना लॉ के अगेंस्ट है. इससे सिंपल वो सॉल्यूशन बता रहा है कि सिंपल और बहुत ही चीप जो एक तरीका है इसको सॉल्व करने का, वो क्या है कि इस एग्रीकल्चर स्लरी को सेमी सॉलिड मैन्योर की तरह वापस ज़मीन में ही मैन्योर की तरह यूज़ किया जाए, खाद की तरह यूज़ किया जाए. इससे क्या होगा, दिस डाइल्यूट्स इट्स कॉन्सेंट्रेशन, उसकी जो कॉन्सेंट्रेशन है स्लरी की वो डाइल्यूट हो जाती है इन्वायरमेंट में, which might have what might have occurred in a primitive and sustainable type of agriculture, जो कि पुराने तरह के एग्रीकल्चर में होता, and converts pollutant, जो एग्रीकल्चर स्लरी जो पानी में जाके जो एक पॉल्यूटेंट बन जाता है, अगर उसी को अगर हम ज़मीन पे यूज़ करें मैन्योर की तरह, तो इट एक्ट्स इनटू अ फर्टिलाइजर, इट कन्वर्ट्स इनटू अ फर्टिलाइजर. So soil microorganisms decompose the organic components of the sewage and slurry, and most of the mineral nutrients become available to be absorbed again by the vegetation. That's true. अभी कहते हैं ना कि इसको जलाना या पानी में नहीं बहाना चाहिए. जो एग्रीकल्चर का जो वेस्ट होता है, तो जलाने से पॉल्यूशन होता है, पानी में बहाने से भी वो पॉल्यूशन होता है कि वो खराब कर देता है पानी को। इससे अच्छा उसको दोबारा छोटा छोटा काट के सेमी सॉलिड बना के उसको फर्टिलाइजर की तरह यूज़ करना चाहिए लैंड पे ही। दैट्स व्हाट इट सेज। Good evening, Nayak. Let's read further, guys. The excess input of nutrients, जो कि स्लरी से बोल रहे हैं वो, the excess input of nutrients, both nitrogen, phosphorus based, from agricultural runoff, जो पानी में जो बहा दिया जाता है, and human sewage has caused many healthy oligotrophic lakes. Healthy oligotrophic means low nutrient concentrations, low plant productivity, with abundant water weeds and clear water, to change into eutrophic conditions. So what are eutrophic conditions? Where high nutrient inputs lead to high phytoplankton productivity, sometimes dominated by bloom forming toxic species, जहाँ पे काई लग जाती है, वो इसी वजह से होता है क्योंकि जहाँ पे गंदगी ज़्यादा होती है। तो वही कह रहे हैं कि अगर आप एग्रीकल्चर को पानी में बहाओगे, उससे एक और नुकसान है कि जो अच्छी हेल्दी लेक्स होते हैं, ओलिगोट्रॉफिक लेक्स होते हैं, उनमें न्यूट्रिएंट्स जो एग्रीकल्चर रन ऑफ की वजह से ज़्यादा आ जाता है, उसकी वजह से हाई फाइटोप्लैंक्टन प्रोडक्टिविटी होती है, मतलब एल्गी बन जाती है, ब्लूम बन जाता है टॉक्सिक स्पीशीज़ का, और वो जो लेक है, कोई भी जो भी वाटर बॉडी है, वो खराब हो जाते हैं. दिस मेक्स द वाटर टर्बिड, अनक्लियर, eliminates large plants, and in the worst situation leads to anoxia, that means no oxygen, and fish kills, जहाँ मछलियाँ भी मर जाती हैं. So called cultural eutrophication. Okay, this is what is called cultural eutrophication, where high nutrients from agricultural runoff produces has complicated implications. Thus important ecosystem services are lost, including provisioning service of wild caught fish and the cultural services associated with recreation. राइट, सो वही कह रहा है कि कोई भी अगर लेक्स में अगर ऐसा होगा तो फिर वो खराब हो जाएंगे बिकॉज ऑफ द हाई ग्रोथ ऑफ माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म फाइटोप्लैंक्ट्स. राइट, let's read further. The process of cultural eutrophication of lakes has been understood for some time. So this has been understood for some time, but only recently did scientists notice huge dead zones in the oceans near river outlets. So अभी अभी कुछ और भी एक कॉम्प्लिकेटेड देखा है कि जहाँ पे ओशंस के अंदर डेड जोन्स मिले हैं, जहाँ पे रिवर का पानी ओशन से मिलता है, particularly those draining large catchment areas such as Mississippi in the North America and Yangtze in China. The nutrient enriched water flows through streams, rivers and lakes, and eventually to the estuary and ocean, where the ecological impact may be huge, killing virtually all invertebrates and fish in areas up to 70,000 square kilometers in extent. Now, more than 150 sea areas worldwide are now regularly starved of oxygen as a result of decomposition of algal blooms, fueled particularly by nitrogen from agricultural runoff of fertilizers and sewage from large cities. Now, oceanic dead zones are typically associated with industrialized nations and usually lie off countries that subsidize their agriculture, encouraging farmers to increase productivity and use more fertilizers. So this is the passage everyone has. This is tough, Mandar Shastri. So this is not an easy one. This is a good RC. All right, guys. Are you ready for the questions? You read the passage carefully? So let's try to solve the questions, guys. Question number 1. According to the passage, why should the discharge of agricultural slurry into water courses be restricted? Now your options are: losing nutrients in this way is not a good practice economically. True. Water courses do not contain the microorganisms that can decompose organic components of agricultural slurry. True. The discharge may lead to the eutrophication of water bodies. All right. Yes, guys. Now losing nutrients in this way is not good, not a good practice economically. Now the answer given was in the first line. See, the simplest and often the most economically sound practice returns the material to the land as semi-solid manure or sprayed slurry. See, it was given. And see, soil microorganisms decompose the organic components of sewage and slurry, and most of the mineral nutrients become available to be absorbed again. That means agricultural slurry leads to mineral nutrients, runoff of mineral nutrients, and that is not economical. So correct answer was, very good Suraj, all the options were correct. Water courses do not contain the microorganisms because that is a pollutant, and eutrophication, that is also true. Correct option was option number D, not B, guys. Yes, Lena. So losing nutrients in this way is not a good practice economically. That's true. Option number 2 is definitely true. 3 is definitely true. Correct option is option number D, guys. Whatever is implied, that has been given in the passage. You have to understand the meaning. When you read something, you have to take the bigger picture. You cannot say that this was not written in the passage. The implied questions would always be there in your paper, guys. So be very, very careful. All right, guys. Second question. The passage refers to the conversion of pollutant to fertilizer. What is pollutant and what is fertilizer in this context? Okay, so we read about that. So your options are: decomposed organic component of slurry is pollutant, microorganisms in soil constitute fertilizer, or discharged agricultural slurry is pollutant, decomposed slurry in soil is fertilizer, sprayed slurry is pollutant, water course is fertilizer, water course is the pollutant, or none of the above expressions is correct in this context. Yes, guys. Read the options carefully, guys. Very good, Sanya. Very good, DK. So I explained it to you. When agricultural slurry is thrown into water, it acts as a pollutant. But if it is brought back into soil as a manure, it acts as a fertilizer. Correct option was option number B. Discharged agricultural slurry is pollutant, and decomposed slurry in soil is fertilizer. So this is the type of questions you might get in your paper, guys. So you have to be prepared for this level of difficulty. This is NABARD, guys, not a small paper or not a small organization at all. So be ready with your reading comprehension skills. Got it? Practice them. All right. Let's move on to question number 3. According to the passage, what are the effects of indiscriminate use of fertilizers? And your options are uh, addition of pollutants to the soil and water, destruction, decomposer of, uh, destruction of, I think this is missing, guys. Destruction of, decomposer of microorganisms in soil, nutrient enrichment of water bodies, or creation of algal blooms. What are the effects of indiscriminate use of fertilizers? Let's see if you were reading it carefully. Well, very well done, guys. All of you have answered this question wrong. The correct answer is none of the above. Now, guys, has it anywhere been mentioned that indiscriminate use of fertilizers? What is the effects of indiscriminate use of fertilizers? Where was it given? Now, this was about discharge of agricultural slurry into water courses. That was the passage. Where was the indiscriminate use of fertilizers? Yes, guys. Nowhere in the passage he has mentioned about indiscriminate use of fertilizers. Yes, guys. So There was no option that was valid here. It could have meant nutrient enrichment of water bodies and creation of algal blooms, but option 3 and 4 could have been correct according to the last. Phosphorus is fertilizer, but is the effect of fertilizer, has it been mentioned that this is the effect of okay, now let's read this passage. It has been given more than 150 sea areas worldwide are now regularly starved of oxygen as a result of decomposition of algal blooms fueled particularly by nitrogen from agricultural runoff of fertilizers and sewage from large cities, right? This is what you're talking about, Neha, right? So I understood that, and according to that I was ready to believe that okay, these two options are correct: nutrient enrichment of water bodies and creation of algal blooms. But the point is, there is no option in the given options where they have option 3 or 4, because option number 1 and 2, they are definitely wrong. So that is why you had to eliminate all the options. If 3 and 4 were in any of the options, that would have been correct. So according to the passage, what could be the, or what are the effects of indiscriminate use of fertilizers? That was when it is running off to the water bodies, it creates nutrient enrichment and creation of algal blooms. It was given, but there was no option there. So that is why none of these options satisfies the question. So you have to be careful about such questions, guys. Don't just jump to your answers just without analyzing the questions carefully. Yes, Neha, this is the where is the part 2 of the passage? This is the only passage that we read. All right, let's solve the last question. What is or what are the characteristics of a water body with cultural eutrophication? Loss of ecosystem services, loss of flora and fauna, loss of mineral nutrients. Yes, guys. What is or what are the characteristics of a water body with cultural eutrophication? Tanya says C. Should I show you the passage once again for this? In second paragraph, guys. The excess input of nutrients, both nitrogen and phosphorus, based from agricultural runoff and human sewage has caused many healthy oligotrophic lakes. Low nutrients concentrations, low plant productivity with abundant water weeds and clear water to change to eutrophic condition where high nutrient inputs leads to phytoplankton productivity, sometimes dominated by bloom forming toxic species. This makes the water turbid, eliminates large plants, and in the worst situation leads to anoxia. Anoxia is absence of oxygen, fish kills, and so-called cultural eutrophication. So, what are the characteristics of a water body with cultural eutrophication? Loss of ecosystem services, loss of flora and fauna, loss of mineral nutrients. Yes, guys, quickly. Guys, see, it was given in the last line then. Thus, important ecosystem services are lost, including the provisioning service of wild-caught fish and the cultural services associated with the recreation. So, ecosystem services are lost. Service of wild-caught fish, cultural services are lost, and flora and fauna, that is also given. Eliminates large plants, and in worse situation leads to anoxia and fish kills. Guys, correct option is, you know what? Option number B. See, loss of ecosystem services, it is given. Loss of flora and fauna, it is given. But loss of mineral nutrients, no. Addition of mineral nutrients, he has said. Eutrophic lakes. Read carefully. See, read carefully the first line. The excess input of nutrients, both nitrogen and phosphorus, based from agricultural runoff, has caused many healthy oligotrophic lakes. which means low nutrient concentrations, low plant productivity with abundant water weeds and clear water, to change to eutrophic condition where high nutrient inputs, see, lead to high phytoplankton productivity, sometimes dominated by bloom forming toxic species. This makes the water turbid, eliminates large plants, and in the worst situations leads to anoxia and fish kills. So the correct option here was option number B, only 1 and 2. The loss of ecosystem services, that is characteristics. Loss of flora and fauna, that is true, but loss of mineral nutrients, that's wrong. Addition of mineral nutrients is seen in this situation. Guys, you have to be very, very careful and you have to practice. A lot many passages. Guys, this is the level of questions they are going to throw at you in the paper. Guys, I think it is time you start preparing, right? All right, guys, that is it for today. And guys, before we leave, I would like to inform you about the new courses that we have launched for ICAR Administrative Officer Post 2021. That is in Indian Council for Agricultural Research. So, and we are offering 15% discount on these courses, and the coupon code is early15. You can subscribe now and get your package and start preparing for this post as well. Right? So guys, how was the session? I know it was difficult. I know the questions were tricky, but that is what I have to do to show you the reality of the paper. Guys, how was the session? Was it useful? Was it beneficial or not? Please do share your feedback. And guys, if you have any queries, please feel free to contact us 8146207241 or drop us an email at hello@edutap.co.in. I'll be live again tomorrow, 7 p.m. again. Eutrophication. I'll be again live tomorrow, 7 p.m. with another session, with another topic. Right, guys? Don't forget to like the session, guys. Don't forget to share it, because it may help someone who is in need. Okay. So thank you so much for joining in, guys. I wish you all the very best, all the success in life, and all your endeavors come true. So having said that, I'll take you leave for today. Thank you so much for joining in. Take care, stay safe, stay healthy, and good night, guys.